Happy Monday, knitters. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and welcome back to my channel. It is another episode of New Start Monday Knits. These Mondays come around so quickly. I hope you've had a fantastic week, and I hope you have something all ready to cast on today for some knitting enjoyment for the full week ahead. Or maybe you've pulled a whip in progress. I can't believe I just said whip. A work in progress that's been sitting around for a while that you are really excited to work on. So let me jump right in, as always, with my finished dishcloth. And I know some people are going to say, Louise, this isn't totally finished. And you're right, because apparently I finished it and I set it aside without weaving in all these tails. This was a little scrappy dishcloth I started this way, with some variegated yarn. I believe it is all Bernat Handicraft cotton. And I finished up two or three balls of this of yarn, little teeny weeny little bits. This variegated down here is finished. I guess maybe I finished two and started on two more. This red and this white, red and cream, this was part of a Christmas ball. Some yarn. You know what? I honestly can't remember which way I started. Actually, now I'm thinking I started this way. I think this is how do you guys remember from last week? My gosh, I can't even remember what I was doing. Maybe I started this way and finished the cream. I honestly can't remember. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I finished it off one way or the other, but I do know I finished off this variegated and this little red, white, and green. I don't know if there's much green in it. But anyways, two little balls for sure are gone. And there it is. So, I mean, my colors don't totally match. I think when I must have started this way, and maybe I finished up some white. No, maybe I finished the blue. Oh my gosh. I really should have checked my video from last week or made some notes. But anyways, I think I finished the blue, and I was looking for something that was going to kind of match, but I didn't really have any odd balls that were going to match, so I just kind of, whatever. One corner is brighter than the other. It's fun. So now I just have all of these tails to weave in, but that'll be all right. That'll just take me just a couple minutes one night while I'm watching a gardening video or a podcast or something. I'll have to pull this out and then I'll move it into my finished box. I also finished last week a little coaster. Remember I had these two little balls of Lopi? I had this pink, and I still have quite a bit of it left. I was worried that I wouldn't have enough to do one of these daisy dishcloths or pot holders. But you know what? I think I'm going to probably pull this out so I can save and reuse this pink and try it again and see if I can get a daisy out of this pink, because I really like the daisy. This little pattern, it's cute, but it's not super, super exciting. I think maybe if I was to knit this again, and maybe I will do it again, I think I would want to try to make the points a little taller. It just looks like a little squished flower. Nothing super, super exciting. But I don't know. It was fun. It was cute. A jury's still out on this. I may do it again and just revamp it, or I may just move on and work on something else. But anyways, I still have this pink. I like the pink. And did you see the flower of my cosmos that were the exact same color growing in my garden? That was why I picked these two balls, because I knew they were sitting upstairs and I saw these flowers flowering and I thought, oh my gosh, how perfect. I can match. I get excited when I match my yarn to my needle tips. So this like really made me super excited to be able to match something to what I was growing in the garden. Now, our friend Asa, she asked me back a couple of weeks ago what was going on with my black alpaca, let me start this totally again. Black alpaca lace weight boucle. That wrap that I cast on, well, not a whole lot, but I did pull it out and I did work a few rows on it. So I don't know if you can magically tell that it's about double in size, but it is. It was really teeny tiny. There's my stitch marker showing my progress. So I have, I don't know, pretty close to doubled it which is still not what is only a few inches. This is really kind of slow. It is slow going because I have to count and watch every one of those teeny tiny little stitches just to make sure that I still have 15 within my stitch markers. So it's counting and watching. So I've been trying to pick this up once a day and knit 2 rows, a front row and a back side row. It's just garter stitch. The only thing that's really keeping me going is that it does feel like a cloud. But now I'm thinking, okay, this whole analogy of a black cloud, I don't like the idea of that. So maybe we'll skip the cloud analogy. I don't know. I don't know how you can make black sound warm and exciting and happy, but it feels super, super soft. So who knows when this is going to get finished, but I'm going to try this week just to work, again, 2 rows a day, maybe first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Maybe not at night. Maybe I'll go in the morning. That might be better. And just see, plug away. Oh my God, if I can get an inch done every week, it's going to take me a lot of weeks, but that's okay. It's not a race. So new starts for this week. Let me show you my dishcloth. Again, I'm still using my cute little bird bag here. And I continued on, or I pulled out this white. I'm starting to totally lose track of what I've been doing and what I'm not. Sometimes I think, maybe my problem is I think I'm going to plan to do something, and then when I actually do it, I switch out yarns, and I think that's what's getting me confused. Anyways, I'm liking, I still am really loving how the striping is working, playing with the color, mixing 2 balls of yarn, and just kind of seeing what you're making up your own colorway as you're going. I really do like that. So this is what I pulled out. I still have this really big ball of white, and I have this little itty bitty ball. It looks like Neapolitan ice cream is what I think of when I see this. So I'm going to stripe these 2 together. And I started it still using my poor mismatched needles, but I don't know. I think it's become a thing. My mismatched needles are my official dishcloth knitting needles. And there it is, striping up. So I just have a little bit of pooling here because my variegated has some white. So obviously my whites from both balls here have stacked on top of one another in this little corner. So we'll see how that happens as I keep getting wider and wider, see if it stripes out a little bit more. I'm hoping that it will. I guess we'll just have to cross our fingers. But anyways, I'm liking how it looks. I started out at the bottom with a little bit of the variegated, worked a couple rows of the white, and then it's kind of starting to stripe out a little bit more here. So we'll see. Hold tight till next week and we'll see the drama of how will this dishcloth stripe. I mean, it's a dishcloth. It's going to be whatever it is. It's going to go in the Christmas box, and I'm sure it'll make somebody happy. I already have a person in mind who kind of likes these colors, so I think I know who it's going to go to. So that is that. Some more just relaxing comfort knitting. You know, those days right now when we're looking at the news and just shaking our heads that, or at least I am, that I can't believe that there's more craziness in the headlines, and that just makes me want to pick up something that doesn't have a whole lot of thinking behind it right now and just nip my way through the days some days. Okay, so that is my new start. Second new start. I spend a considerable amount of time up in my yarn room. A few people have been asking me how is that going, because way back in January I had set high hopes of having my yarn room all organized and all my stash on Ravelry and by June. Well, June 1st has come and gone, and I am not even anywhere close because it was just so overwhelming. I really didn't even know where to start, but I took yesterday and I spent the day up, literally spent the day up there. It did take a little break to go for ice cream with some friends. We social distanced, sat in our cars, and it was a lovely little visit and a nice break. And then I went right back at it, and I'm feeling a sense of accomplishment. I am making some headway, and I've got yarn sorted into containers and boxes and totes. And I found this ball of yarn. I found a lot of these balls. Karen Cakes. These came from Michael's, and I think this is just a perfect example of how I cannot pass up sale yarn, because these came from Michael's, and when they were on sale, or if there was a good coupon, I obviously went and I stacked up on these because I'm pretty sure I have one in every color, and I stopped counting at like 12 balls of different colors. And yeah, so anyways, I thought, you know what, I better start knitting these up because I'm totally embarrassed of how many balls I've got, because I don't even know what I'm going to do with them all, but they are really pretty. And I have the other ones all in a shelf, and they do look nice. So maybe I'll never knit with them. Maybe they'll just be, you know, wall art. Who needs to buy paintings when you can decorate with pretty balls of yarn? Maybe I can justify them that way. But anyways, I pulled this one out because it does look summery, spring summery. It looks like flowers, and I thought I'm going to just do a scarf. Another long skinny scarf. I'm going to knit the whole ball up so it can be double wrapped around, and it will be a Christmas gift, or I'm thinking about doing some donations to some of the schools in our area that might need some warm winter items this fall. So that's I don't know who this will go to, but I think it'll make a fun scarf. And especially, I think a little girl would like this, right? I liked it. I bought it. So, but I don't know if I would wear it. So I'm going to knit it up. I think it'll be fun sitting in my garden and just watching these colors all knit up. I don't know what stitch pattern I'm going to do. So if anybody who is watching this, if you want to leave me a comment, if you have a fun stitch pattern you think I should try, or any of my dishcloths that I've done over the last few months when I was doing different stitch patterns, I may pull out one of those and make those into the scarf. I could do the broken rib, the mistake rib. That ton of lace pattern with this might look cute. So anyways, if you have any ideas, leave me a comment down below because I would love some suggestions. And I will probably cast this on probably tomorrow. I don't know. I'll wait for a couple days to get your suggestions because I have something that I really want to finish. I was trying so hard to have this finished. Are you ready? Do you have any idea what it could be? I feel like I need a drum roll, even though it's not close. I'm like 95% done. My summer top. I've got the back done. I've got the front done. I technically got the front done twice, or at least the neck shaping done twice. And so what I did, so a couple nights ago, I was working on it and I thought, okay, I really want to get this done so I can wear it and show you guys that I got something finished. I cast off, I did both my shoulder shaping, and then I laid it out to look at it, and I'm like, what? Something does not look right. My cast off edge here was not centered over the lace panel. I forget which way it went, but I was like 2 stitches off center. And so, of course, I sat there for a couple of minutes tugging on it, pulling on it, thinking, is anybody going to know? And of course, my first gut instinct, right? You always need to listen to that was, yeah, obviously it was not right. So I just pulled back the shoulders and pulled out the cast on, counted my stitches, divided it out. And I'm still not totally sure. I don't know if it was if I counted wrong or maybe one side had an extra stitch. I'm not sure where the math problem went all kind of crazy, but it did. Anyways, I fixed it, and I've got one shoulder mattress stitched. The other one was open because you picked up stitches all in a row like this and did 3 rows. Don't worry, I see as I'm showing this, I see there's some holes here, but that's right, I've joined my yarn. So if you're seeing that and having a conniption, I can just tug this up closed, and that should disappear. And I've got tails that I can weave in if there needs any little fixing. So 3 rows of 1x1 ribbing. The collar, the neckline is done. So my next step is just to mattress stitch this shoulder seam closed, and then just close up my sides. So I'll find where my armholes are. So I will just, from here down, I will mattress stitch on both sides. Well, so I'll read the pattern, because this was the whole purpose of this was just for me to knit from the pattern exactly how it said. So I will see what the pattern directions call for, but then I'm assuming I will just pick up stitches around here. I will do another 3 rows of knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, cast it off. It was cast off or in pattern, so cast off in ribbing. And then I'll do the same on this side and I'll be done. So I don't want to jinx myself, but fingers crossed that I will be able to wear it next week and show you it finished. So it does panic me a little bit knitting this and not doing my whole gauge to garment process, and just I don't know, following the pattern where it says knit 5 more rows, and I'm like, oh, why is it 5? I should know my measurements and the inches. Anyways, I am just, well, I'm having faith. Okay, one thing I wanted to quickly show you is, remember when I finished the back, when I shaped for the armholes here, remember how I said I was going to do something different on the front? This is the back. So I've cast off, I think, 7 stitches. Then it said on the next right side row to cast off 3 or 5. I think it looks like 5. But see how you get that stair step? And it just makes your seaming a little tricky, right? Because you got this point here. So I told you that when I got to the front, I was going to show you how to do armhole shaping so it was nice and smooth. So you don't have that little stair step or that little point. And that's what I did on this. And all it is doing some slip stitches. So I'm going to really quickly show you how to do it, because most times in patterns it doesn't tell you. It's a technique that you have to learn and then just apply it to the pattern itself. So whatever the stitch count the pattern says to cast off, you're going to still keep those stitch numbers the same. But what you're going to do is you're going to add some slip stitches. A slip stitch on the row, the last stitch on the row before you start your cast off, and slip the first stitch on the cast off row. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I did a little sample here, and I did just the traditional, I cast off 5. So I was working, we're going to figure this is a cardigan. So we're going to keep the edge straight, and we're going to cast off some stitches around the armhole here. So I've worked stockinette on my front cardigan piece. I've got to the pattern where it says on the next row, cast off 5 stitches. So I'm on a knit side. I've knit and cast off 5 stitches. I've knit to the end of the row. I've turned it around. I've purled back. My pattern now says on the next row, cast off 3 stitches. So I'm on a knit row. I knit and I cast off 3 stitches. I knit to the end of my row. I turn it around and I purl. Now I'm ready. So if we're continuing on the pattern may say cast off 3 stitches or 2 stitches, whatever the number is. Typically, if I was following the pattern and getting the stair step, I would just start, I would knit 2 stitches, I would pass one over, knit another, pass it over for my allotted number of stitches, but that will give me another stair step. So to avoid that stair step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pretend that I am on the purl row. I've done a couple cast off rows. I'm purling my way back to the edge where I'm doing the shaping. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see. So I've been purling across. When I get to this last stitch, I'm not going to purl it. I am going to slip it purlwise. So my working yarn is still attached to the second last stitch, but that is okay. Now I'm going to turn it around, and my pattern is going to say cast off 3 stitches. What I'm going to do first is that slip stitch, I'm going to slip it again. I'm going to slip it purlwise. So I'm doing this backwards. I'm doing this so that you can see it. This is what I would normally be looking at it like this. So I'm doing it backwards so you can see. So I'm going to slip that first stitch purlwise. I'm going to slip the second stitch purlwise. So I've got 2 slip stitches. Now I am just going to do cast one over. So I'm going to pick up that back stitch and I'm going to lift it up and over. Don't think I've ever tried casting off backwards. Anyways, there we go. Backwards. One stitch cast off. So that slip, doing those 2 slip stitches, look at how nice and even that gives you. So now it's going to say, we'll say it was cast off 3 stitches. So I'm going to knit another one. And from here on out, it is just regular. I'm cast off 1 more, knit a stitch, pick up, and cast off. So there's my 3 stitches. So this was the point from our stair step, from that little, what I had done before we started knitting together. And look at now how nice and smooth that is. If we hadn't slipped those slip stitches, there would have been another little stair step right here. We would have had cast off, stair step, cast off, stair step. But slipping that stitch on that last stitch on the purl side, and then turning around, slipping the first stitch on the knit side, passing one over, that gives you a nice smooth slope. So now what I'm going to do is just knit to the end of my row, and I'll show you this again really quickly. But so it's just nice because it gives you that nice smooth edge, which obviously is going to make it a lot nicer for seaming. I've knit to the end of my row. I'm going to turn it around now. I'm on the purl side. There's my little purl bumps. So now I know in my head I'm getting set up, because I know my pattern's going to say on the next row they want me to cast off another 2 stitches. So now that I know how to do that sloped cast off, I know to myself on this row, the row before I do my shaping, I get to this last stitch and I'm going to slip it purlwise. I'm going to turn my work around, and my pattern's saying cast off 2 stitches. I know I want to slip that first stitch again purlwise, and the second stitch I'm also going to slip purlwise. I've got 2 stitches, then I pick up the back one, lift it up and over, and there's my first stitch cast off. And then I just continue on casting off as we normally would, and then just knit to the end of the row. So I'll show you here in a second that we've again eliminated that stair step. And look how nice and smooth that is. I've got that one point from previous cast offs, but look how nice that is. So obviously that's going to fit, you know, when you're matching up your fronts, you know, your sleeve, like when you're seaming, right? If you're picking up stitches for an edge, or if you're going to sew a sleeve into that armhole, if you don't have these little stair steps, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that seaming and pick up your stitches. So I hope that helps, and I would love to know if you have done this before, if it's something new that you've just learned, because I always think learning something new is fun. It's always good to have extra little tools in your toolbox, as the saying goes. So if you've done it before, let me know. If you think you will try it on another project, I would love to know that too. And I hope you have a fantastic week. That is it for me. I am going to try and do a little more double knitting. Oh, and I have done, if you've been watching my double knitting how-to videos, I hope you've enjoyed them. There's going to be another one coming up in a couple of days talking about color changes and fixing mistakes. That's on the agenda for the next video too. So I'm going to do a little double knitting, get my scarf finished, scarf started, sweater finished, and I already know what I'm starting for next week. So stay tuned for that. So have a fantastic week, everybody. I hope you get lots of knitting time and just enjoy the sunshine, and have a fantastic week. And I will see you right back here on Monday, and hopefully I'll see you in between as we talk about double knitting. Bye, everyone.